Track and field is really starting to heat up in 2026. It's been a pretty wild first month of this indoor season, and we are quickly seeing names that could be future superstars. Now, Cole Hocker might already be a superstar, but his rise to historic times has been unbelievable, as he just threw down the second fastest indoor mile in history, achieving a 3:45.94 in the ASICS Sound Invite in North Carolina. For this mile, Cole ran like a metronome for the opening stages of this race, but for the final 400, he shifted gears in quite the dramatic way, dropping the field instantly, and he threw down a final 400 of 54.82. Over in the 800, the story that is really shocking the world is the consistency of the 17-year-old Cooper Lutkenhaus, who, even against a professional field, is absolutely dominating. For this 800, Lutkenhaus achieved a time of 1:44.03, which incredibly is actually faster than the current collegiate record in the 800, and Cooper's still only in high school. It's pretty bizarre to see a high schooler running times that are way faster than any collegiate in history. In fact, right now, the official high school records in the indoor 600 and the indoor 800 are faster than anything that has ever happened in NCAA history. Just pure insanity from Cooper Lutkenhaus. Lastly, and this actually isn't in the indoor circuit, in fact it's not even track, but we have to talk about the finish at this year's Seville Marathon in Spain, because despite running for 2 hours, 3 minutes and 59 seconds, the finish came down to less than a tenth of a second, and this is how the final moments happened. Not only did these two battle all the way to the tape in a photo finish, but they both ran the fastest marathon time in the world for 2026, with Shura Katada taking the win in black by less than a tenth of a second. The athletics drama from all over the world is quickly heating up as the World Indoor Championships quickly approach. But one of the most exciting and intriguing stories comes from an athlete in their very first professional season, and despite competing in two sports for the majority of his career, he's quickly building a reputation as quite possibly the fastest athlete in the world. At the 2026 Tyson Invitational in Fayetteville, Arkansas, this was practically a who's who of running greats. We saw Noah Lyles in the 200, we saw Julian Alfred again crushing the 60, and we saw many of the top collegiate athletes in the nation. However, in the championship men's 60-meter dash, we really saw something special. In this field, it was one of the most stacked 60 fields in recent memory. There was Trayvon Bromell from the US, a previous world champ in the 60 and one of the fastest athletes in the event's history. There's Ronnie Baker, the third fastest 60-meter runner ever, with a PB of 6.40. And there was also Devontae Howell and Trenard Folsom from Tennessee, who have both broken 6.5 in 2026. Clearly, this 60-meter final was bound to lead to something quick, but I don't think anyone was quite expecting what actually happened.
And a clean start. Anthony got out well in lane 4. Anthony in 4. On the inside, it's Trayvon Bromell.
With an explosive start and completely unmatched top speed, it was Jordan Anthony who managed to bury this field from the very beginning. Immediately, Anthony got a solid jump on this 60 field with the quickest reaction time of anyone, and his reaction was 0.137 compared to the next quickest at 0.149. After this start, Anthony reached the halfway point with a very solid lead over the field, and then from 30 to 60, this field was just cooked, and this result now places Anthony in the top 10 all-time in the 60-meter dash, now tying him with Noah Lyles and Tim Hardin. What's wild about this result is that Anthony's 2026 best before this was only 6.51, which he actually ran about an hour before this final in the qualification round. And before that, his best time in 2026 was only 6.57. And to go down to 6.43 from 6.57 in just a few hours is pretty crazy. And this nearly flawlessly executed race tells quite the compelling story about Jordan Anthony. This 60 time also took down a record that had stood for almost exactly 23 years, as the facility record here before Anthony went all the way back to 2003, when Terrence Trammell ran a time of 6.46 in the 60. Think about all the tremendous competitions that take place here in Arkansas. I mean, this is really one of the most premier indoor facilities in the world. And if you don't have it in your top 5, you're joking yourself, because this indoor track is lightning quick. To take down a record that had stood for more than 2 decades on a track where lightning fast 60s happen almost every week is a true testament to how fast Anthony is really running right now, and to further cement the fact that Anthony is officially reaching next level status. All we have to do is rewind the clock just a few months, because, and many people have already forgotten this, but on December 18th of 2025, Anthony won the prestigious Bowerman Award, which is arguably the most difficult award to win in all of college sports. Every year, only one male and one female athlete win this award across all events in all schools. So out of the millions of athletes that are competing, only one male and one female win it. And despite the fierce competition in 2025, Anthony managed to win this award. Anthony's 2025 season was quite the spectacle of speed, as he took the indoor 60-meter dash in the NCAA champs in 6.47, he took the SEC outdoor title in the 100 at 9.95 seconds, he also won the outdoor title in the 200 at the SECs with another speedy clocking of 19.93, and despite running slightly slower in the NCAA championships, he won the 100 meters here as well, hitting a time of 10.07 on the outside lane for the win. All of these championship moments were a solid step forward for the young Anthony, but the race that many people remember the most was one of the most controversial moments in 2025, and this happened in the 100-meter qualification round of the West Regionals, because in this 100, Anthony did something that many people still believe was too good to be true. For this 100 meters, Anthony dropped a time of 9.75, which is the kind of performance that you might see once every 5 or 6 years, if not longer. But unfortunately, this time was quickly erased as an official performance, as the tailwind was just outside of the allowable limit at 2.1 meters per second. This performance drew millions of eyes to Anthony's running, but it was also met with a huge amount of skepticism. Along with Anthony's time, which is significantly faster than anything else he's run up to this point, the second-placed athlete Taylor Banks also ran a time much faster than anything that he has ever done, and the same can be said about Kalen Walker in third, and also about the fourth-place finisher Mason Lawyer, who broke 10 in this race, but his PB outside of this competition under legal wins is only 10.19. A respectable time, for sure, but a 9.95 is so much faster than 10.19. There still is yet to be any real explanation as to what happened here, but one thing was still clear, and that was that Jordan Anthony was the class of this field. And now combined with his previous championship running, various sub-10-second clockings, a new 6.43 60-meter PB, Anthony is reaching numbers that very, very few people will ever attain. At 6.43, that's already a top 10 mark in history, which for this race has to be under legal wind conditions because it was indoors. For his 100, a 9.75 would be historically fast, but outside of that performance, his best time is 9.93. And for his 100 at 9.75, that would be a top 10 all-time mark, but for his real personal best in the 100, it still stands as only 9.95. Now, for Anthony's progression in the 60, the 100, and the 200, we are seeing these times drop like crazy, because since 2023, Anthony has been taking off huge chunks from every personal record as the seasons continue, which can only mean one thing: he could be ready to throw down insane marks for this year's outdoor season. And who knows, he could very well break 6.4 in the 60 if he trains specifically for that this indoor season. There's already a huge amount of buzz surrounding Jordan Anthony, and this 6.43 just might be the race that opens the doors to historic times. Thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time.